Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us today. In the spirit of reconciliation, Windsor Group acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to the elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. So following on from our previous webinars, we have covered cover letters, preparing resumes, presenting an interview. And so today we thought we'd sum that up with now how do we find a job? How do we do the job search? So that's what we're going to focus on. We will have a Q&A session, so feel free to type your question in the chat box in Teams throughout, and we'll get to that at the end. It is my pleasure to welcome our speaker today, Gabriella. Gabriella is one of our executive consultants here at Windsor Group. She is a natural and assertive communicator with a strong and varied background across commercial, retail, and nonprofits. We are in really good hands today. So Gabriella, over to you.
Thank you, Amy, and hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. So like Amy said, we're going to be discussing how to search for a job. Now, what may seem like an easy process can be approached from a number of different angles. So I'm hoping that the tips we provide for you today will help you land your next great job. So first things first, write a career plan. You're more likely to find the perfect job if you're clear on the direction you want to take your career in. Guys, finding a full-time job can feel like a full-time job until you find the right position, that is. Treat it that way. Be structured, professional, concise. Get up in the morning, get showered, get dressed, sit down at your computer and make that your focus for however many hours you have in the day to dedicate to it. So write up a plan that states who you are as a professional. What are the must-have job attributes like career progression, working hours? What organizations would you like to work for? What values and company culture are you after? Keep your plan handy when applying for jobs to see how closely aligned they are. You may find that they are realistically not even worth applying for. Very importantly, refresh your resume. It's easy to update your resume with a few extra lines every time you change jobs. But if you really want to find a job that's as far away as possible to the weekend shift work during high school, then it's really time to give your resume a makeover. It not only needs to look more professional and sophisticated than the earlier days of your career, it needs to provide a snapshot of the best roles and experiences you've had into a concise 1- or 2-page document. Don't be precious with it. Make it reflect who you've become professionally today. Now, big question, photograph on a resume, do I, don't I? I say absolutely yes, but it's different strokes for different folks. For me, it puts a face to a name. But what's important, again, is it needs to be professional. It's not a sexy selfie pic, with duck lips and a bikini. We see a lot of those, and those are just, it doesn't kind of align with a professional image. Update your resume on Seek and LinkedIn. Make sure your most current resume has been uploaded. You'll be surprised how often us as recruiters will look at your resume via platforms like Seek and LinkedIn to match candidates to fill positions that we're looking for, and write a cover letter. They are so important because they're personal. They provide your recruiter or future employer with a narrative so that they can develop an understanding of who you are as a person and your suitability for a position. Putting in the additional work of writing a cover letter shows that you value the time that the recruiter or employer will spend perusing your resume. So write to them directly. Say, hey, Gab, hey, Amy, this is who I am. I'm really keen on this role. And make your CV come to life in that cover letter. Okay, so what's next? The little guy in this picture is Bob. Don't be like Bob. But if you do find a leprechaun, my number's 3211 so please hook me up. But maximize your online search. People find jobs online today more than anywhere else, with Seek being the most popular job site in Australia and New Zealand, and so many people use it. So how do you get the best out of it? Set up Seek job alerts so that you're the first to know when new jobs in your industry are posted, and make sure you filled out your Seek profile so potential employers can see your skills, your experience, and what you're looking for in your next role. The more you add to your Seek profile, the easier it is for the right employers to find you. Get plugged into career networking sites like LinkedIn. You can update your profile as often as you like, and the more additions you make to your profile, the more active your profile will look. So do that. Don't hesitate. Oh, and very important, pick the perfect profile pic. Again, we're going back to that same old no selfie. Make sure you're smiling and you look well presented and approachable, amiable. Right. The other thing I want to draw your attention to is in a position description, we have dot points. You'll see them. They're normally at the top of the position description. They list what the employer or recruiter is actually looking for in terms of skills and qualifications. Don't just copy and paste into the resume. Don't cheat, but do gauge whether your skills are aligned with that PD. And guys, don't apply for just everything for the sake of applying. Be selective. And what do I mean? So if there's a position description that requires a lifesaver and you don't know how to swim, don't apply. And it happens. There's a lot of people out there that will just apply for everything just for the sake of, I need to get a job. Let's just apply. Don't. And an aside, if you don't have the qualifications, but you have all the experience, that's where your cover comes in again. Make your experiences come to life in your cover letter. Register with recruiters. So it's often worth getting in touch with recruiters who specialize in your industry of interest. At Windsor, we have a registration process, which usually consists of an interview, presentation of your resume, and filling out your details for our database. I know this can seem mechanical, but it's in our best interest to place our candidates in roles that we've been assigned. So don't hold back on registering. Be open to part-time opportunities. You'll be surprised how often a part-time or temporary position can actually turn into a full-time one based on performance. Another question, what else can I do? Connect with your networks. We often assume that to network, we need to attend special industry events, meet and engage with new people. This can often be the case, but networking can be as easy as getting the word out to your existing networks, family, friends, past employers, colleagues, contacts online, professional networks. Let them know you're in the market for a new career. Most of us at some point in our lives have been at that stage of our career and can empathize with job seekers. So don't be afraid to reach out to everyone. The other thing is prepare and practice. The process of applying and interviewing for jobs requires a lot of prep and a lot of practice. Follow up with every sent resume with a phone call or email. Sometimes just the act of calling for feedback, even though you may have been rejected, ensures that you remain top of mind. Once you've secured an interview, find out more about the industry, find out more about the role, the company, make a checklist of all the reasons you'd be great for the position. And I know this sounds a bit corny, but ask a friend or family member to perform a mock interview with you. Get them to ask you the tough questions and keep repeating your answers until you know them off by heart. That way, when it comes to the actual interview, you'll have the confidence to really go to the next step and you'll feel good, you'll feel safe and secure within your shoes. That's all from me for now. I hope that's helped. We're going to move into the Q&A section. Amy?
Thank you, Gab. The first question that we had received was around actually searching for a job. So I'm in the position of needing a job. Do I search every day? Should I be following a structure? How do I actually set myself up for success with a job search?
Thank you for the question. The short answer is, do I search every day? Is there a structure? The short answer is definitely yes. John Beckley said, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And I'm going to elaborate. Job hunting can be exhausting. It's a full-time job, even for the most upbeat individuals. So time management and a proactive approach is imperative. So dependent on your time and commitment, it can be different for everyone. But first things first, decide on how much time you can actually put aside daily or weekly. Let's assume that you have 4 hours a week to focus on your job search. Like I said, depending on your circumstances, you may have 8 hours or 12 hours, but the breakdown that I'm going to go through will pretty much be the same. So your breakdown looks like this: 30 minutes, job searching. Application writing is 1 to 2 hours, and that's on a good day. Proactive networking, 30 minutes. Research and learning, another 30 minutes. So we start with job search. Let automation work for you. So jump onto each platform and load your resume. Set notifications to emails, especially on Seek and LinkedIn. Filter your searches. If you ideally want a marketing communications role, set the filters to search for roles within that space. We do this to save ourselves the endless scrolling through a rabbit hole of job opportunities. Right, we move on to application writing. This is the most consuming part, depending on the role you're looking at. Write a cover letter, like I said before, that makes your resume come to life. Some applications require extensive attention to the key selection criteria with additional documents, or perhaps you have to present a pitch concept or project as a part of the application process. This will take a lot longer, but make sure you give the attention these deserve. Recruiters can see right through an application that has just been copied and pasted without the appropriate focus on keywords and company values. Work with, okay, next, is proactive networking. Now, what falls under this is working with a recruitment company. So signing with us at Windsor, for example, gives you the opportunity to become one of our registered candidates, and you enjoy the expertise and personal support that will bring you. We specialize and excel in all areas of not-for-profit recruitment, and we're ideally placed to know what's going on in your sector, and we can point you in the right direction when opportunities arise. We can't always guarantee that we'll find your role, so you should also be actively pursuing all the other avenues that are open to you. Like I said, Seek and LinkedIn. Pre-COVID, I would have suggested face-to-face and coffee meetings. We're going back to proactive networking now, but we're going to focus on social media. LinkedIn is a great platform. Again, I'm going to break it down into 3 categories: follow, connect, post. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, sign up now. Once you've created a profile, it's time to make your feed work for you and ensure that you're getting the right information in your social feed. Follow any company that your chosen industry, or there's a thought leader who you think brings terrific knowledge. That can be a benefit. Engage with employees from companies that you want to work for. Focus on mutual connections that you have with others and any other people that you've worked with or studied with in the past. Now would be a really good time to connect with them. My recommendation is to spend about 30 minutes on the platform per week, engaging, following updates. The final part of this important step is post about your journey along the way. You know, so many of us are afraid to post when they're in a state of transition or unemployment. I disagree. flip that mindset and use it as an opportunity to demonstrate your adaptability and attention to your community by sharing resources and insights that you may have learned. Be authentic, be real. Whatever challenges you face, share them. I guarantee your connections at some point have experienced something similar and may be able to provide insight. The next part of that breakdown is research and learning. Research companies who are aligned with your values or are focusing on areas that you find fascinating. Prioritize time to learn about your industry. Use podcasts, audiobooks, or anything that provides an edge to your knowledge and your brand. You may feel that it's time to develop a new skill or complete some online learning modules that you can place on your resume or on LinkedIn. Prioritizing this time is so important because it allows us to grow and develop our understanding and make us even more employable in the long term and short term. Demonstrates that you're proactive and a self-starter, which is a highly sought after skill and mindset nowadays. Any other questions?
Yes, Gab. So we've done all of that. We're at the point we sent out our applications, waiting with bated breath to get those phone calls and emails advising us of next steps. What's your advice for us when we are in that job seeker mindset, and that's what we're doing, on being not only rejected, but maybe ghosted as well? So not getting an outcome from an application, or actually not getting any further with our application.
Yeah, I know this can be terribly frustrating and it's confusing, especially if you've reached like the interview stage and it's gone really, really well. The first thing I want to say is don't take it personally. It's not necessarily about you. Sometimes it's due to factors that are far beyond your control. Like they could still be looking. They could have a whole host of applications and they're just sifting through each one. So please don't take it personally. Number 2, ask for feedback. Follow up. Sometimes the act of simply picking up the phone to find out more could actually show the employer a host of qualities that they're after, like resilience, tenacity, and drive. These could end up resulting in you being top of mind for the next suitable role. That's actually how I got my role at Windsor. I applied for another role. I was rejected and I just wanted to find out why. So I picked up the phone and I went, "Hi, please may I speak to Kay?" Because that was the recruiter on the role that I'd applied for. And we had a 45-minute conversation. And a couple of weeks later, she phoned me and said, "We think you'd make a great recruiter." And well, here I am. So there is hope, guys. And remember to always send a thank you email for the, especially after an interview. Just say, "Hey, thank you so much for seeing me. Thank you for your time." That always helps as well. Another thing is take a fresh approach when it comes to the next application. Try not to carry baggage across because it will eat at your confidence. Just make sure every application is a fresh, new approach, a new opportunity, and treat it as such. Keep learning, developing, keep your skills and experience up to date, and keep applying. The right job is out there. It really, really is. And I wish you all so much luck. And I'm putting so much love and light out there. I'm sending it all to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gab. We do have another question.
Yes.
In terms of when we're trying to explain a career break from the workforce for whatever purpose that may be, how should we actually cover that in our application? And then obviously when we get to interview, but how do we address that in our application process?
So I can speak from experience. When I took a 6-year sabbatical, I'm sure that's what you mean, Amy. When I was having my children, I actually put it into my resume. So I actually said, during this time, I was at home, I was growing little humans. What it does do is it shows your recruiter or employer that you didn't fall off the earth. So basically, you took time to say, this is what I was focused on, or this is where I was employed for that period of time. We find a lot of resumes come in and it seems that there's huge gaps. Be open, be transparent, and say, right, at that time I was doing this, I was traveling the world, I was, living out some other experience. Be open, be honest, and explain so that in our mind we know where you were at that point. I say complete transparency is always key.
Thank you, Gavin. I would agree with that where you can be as honest as possible with any breaks in your resume, please do. Well, that takes us to about end of time today. So thank you all for joining us today and at our previous sessions. This is our last one for the year, and we'll be back in 2024 with a lot more webinars for you all. So wishing you all the very best. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, everyone.